Well, welcome out there once again to my show. Always a pleasure to be here, and always a pleasure to have you out there watching, and I know you watch. And I know you're interested in a game show, too. That comes on every third week, and I like that show myself. Glenn Lowney, we have C.J. Ferry, Gabe Andrade, and we have Jerry Gunner and Ben, and they do a wonderful job, and other people who come on occasionally. So it's a good show. Tonight I have a couple of guests, and we're going to talk about, of all places, Honduras. Now, don't get the shivers out there. I know it's a dangerous place, Honduras, down in Central America. But these two people go down there and they do some fine work. You have to give them credit because they're very brave. They're going to tell us what they do down there, how to get down there, and, well, we're going to find out where it is, too. So, welcome, Claire Sullivan. Nice to have you back on the program. You came on a couple of years ago, along with Rick Mancini, Diamond graduate.
Thank you for asking us back.
Electric shop, good for you.
That's right.
Well,
serves me well.
Yeah, it has. So, you were back down in Honduras. Give the audience a little idea geographically where Honduras is.
Oh, you want to pick up on some of that lead-in, Claire? Or?
Central America.
All right. Some of the neighbors of Honduras?
Guatemala, Nicaragua,
Belize.
Belize. They speak English in Belize.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a British or was a British acquisition. Yes.
Do you ever go across the border?
No.
No, we don't. No, that's quite a distance from where we are. The travel there is very difficult. It's very slow. Most of the roads are dirt roads, and the ones that are paved are full of potholes. Oh, yeah. And I mean potholes.
Sounds like a place I know.
Well, you know, we often say that the governor of Rhode Island is taking perfectly good highways with his new program and creating potholes. But these are nothing compared to what you have out in Honduras. They are huge.
You can lose your motorcycle?
You can lose your body. Yeah, they're deep. And what they do is, and I'm not joking, this is seriously, if the pothole is 1 foot to 1.5 foot deep, they might stick a little branch in there. So when you're driving down, you see the branch, you know you don't want to hit that pothole.
Okay, so that's a
fact.
That's a warning sign.
Yeah. Yes. And that's on the paved roads.
Oh.
It's amazing, yeah.
Well, tell us how you get down to Honduras.
Well,
what's the itinerary? Where do you start off?
We start off in Boston, and we've past few years, there are only a couple of airlines that fly into Honduras. There's one flight in a day, one flight out a day.
And name of the airlines?
American Airlines or Delta, or United as well. So we go from Boston to Atlanta, and then Atlanta to Honduras.
Oh, one stop.
But no, two. I mean, just one stop in Atlanta, but it takes us basically about 18 hours to get there. Being an international flight, we have to be at Logan at 3 o'clock in the morning. So we leave from Westport at 2. We get to Logan at 3. We leave our flights at 6 into Atlanta, a layover there, into Tegucigalpa, the capital, go through customs. That can take an hour to 2. And then we get in the trucks or the bus and drive another 3 to 4 hours, depending on the potholes, to get to the city where we're going. So we leave Westport at 2 a.m. and we get into Tegucigalpa about 6, 7 o'clock at night.
So it's a long
day.
Long day,
yes.
And well, go ahead, Ricky.
Well, I was just going to say that there's actually two, I guess we'll break it into 2 teams here. Claire started this 6, 7 years ago, and it was a medical team primarily. And then when I went for my first trip 6 years ago, this will be my 7th trip, I decided that first trip, I saw the conditions of the buildings
so you go every
that
year?
are out there. Yes. The difference is that Claire goes down for about 12 days with her team. There's approximately 15, 16 people that go. I go down and I stay for 8 weeks.
8 weeks?
Yeah. Yeah, I go a week and a half or so.
You must be retired.
You must be, yeah.
We both are.
So you go down for 8 weeks.
Yeah, I make 2 trips. I make one in October for about 12 days, and I go down with one of our other team members. And what we do is we check the facilities and see what kind of work is required, what kind of mechanical tasks that are there. It could be, we do everything from water, wells, plumbing, electrical, carpentry work. We'll do machine work. Last year I repaired the bus for them, the diesel bus. So, you know, we do a multiple task when we go down there. But we analyze it all, come back here to the States, purchase all the materials here, ship them to Honduras. Then I go down there. This year I'll be there on the 21st of January and returning with Claire's team on the
Nice
9th
time
of
to go,
March.
to leave here.
It is, yes.
Yeah.
Must be nice down there.
Yeah, it gets
Now,
warm.
To back up just a little bit, though, just where we're going in Honduras.
Well, let me, okay.
Okay. We're going down in support of the Olancho Wade Foundation. Father Dick Donahue, who's been down there for over 20 years, background in education, and realized the only way out of poverty is education. So in the course of 20 years, he has built this school system ranging from preschool to university level. In addition to that, there's the Nazareth School for Special Needs Children. So when Richard talks about looking at the buildings, it's the structures that have been built over the past 20 years. And when we go every year, we go specifically to Jurucalpa, which is where all of these schools are located. So they have their construction team to take care of the schools. And those of us with a medical background go out to the mountain villages and run medical clinics.
How many are on your team?
That will go out to the medical clinics, probably about 10 people, 10,
Mostly
12 people.
nurses?
There's nurses, a pharmacist, we've had a physician, and then we have ancillary people. Richard's wife, Mary Lou, goes because at the medical clinics, not only do we provide medical care, we provide reading glasses, so we have 2 or 3 people assigned to evaluating people for reading glasses that we get at no charge through the Lions Club. Mary Lou and a few other people are in charge of distributing clothing and toys and educational supplies. A lot of these villages have one-room schoolhouses, and crayons, paper, pencils, they're almost non-existent. So to every medical clinic, we bring boxes of educational supply, the very basic educational supplies as well.
Now, does this tend to be on a religious side also?
No, it's non-denominational.
Oh, okay. So, Rick, what's your team consist of?
Well, it's
How many members first?
me, myself,
And Don,
and
yeah.
then Don will be down. I'll be there for about 7 weeks on that second stretch, and then Don will be there for 3 of the 7. So I'm,
So you're pretty much there alone?
for the first 4 weeks, I have 2 Hondurans that we're training, and really bright
And
young men.
You use what language?
I
Sign?
Well, a lot of
Where it
that.
started off
A lot of that. Yeah, initially I did. My Spanish is improving, so we are able to communicate somewhat. But your sign language is great, you know.
But you know, I mean, you're doing technical things.
We are.
So, all right, so you get along,
We do very well. We have a good time. Yeah. So. It's
but being there alone,
yes.
doesn't bother you?
No, not at all.
The bandits don't show up?
No, you use a lot of good common sense. As you mentioned earlier in the program, Honduras has the highest homicide rate in the world, and San Pedro Sula is also the highest homicide city of any country in the world. Correct, and that's in Honduras. So they hold quite a record for that. Yeah.
Oh, they're doing all right.
Yeah, but most of it's drug related, so you just watch where you go. You don't travel from town to town or through the mountains at night.
During the day, maybe?
During the day, yeah, I go up to the mountains quite a bit. I've had some nice experiences at some of these rural homes up in the mountains.
So when you go up in the mountains, what can you expect? I mean, Honduras is not the land of the Aztecs, the Mayans. It's the land of what?
Well,
Old Indian tribes, I imagine.
yes, well, actually, that was a very strong population in Honduras originally. But
Original Indians?
well, yes, sort of, but no, not. You know, I'm at a loss for words. I'm trying to think of the Indian population and what their name was, and it evades me at this point. But there's a strong background of that. But the people in the countryside are mostly farmers.
And what do they grow?
Coffee. Where do you think your morning coffee probably comes from?
Came from Colombia.
Honduras.
Maybe not, huh?
Honduras.
Major
Agriculture is their major.
coffee,
Oh, yes.
Yeah, coffee,
Yes.
corn,
Plantations.
vegetables.
Yeah.
small or large?
Very small, a lot of family type of. And in fact, when you go up into the villages, when you see their little houses, if that's what you want to call them, they will have tarps down on the ground right in front of their door. And the coffee beans are literally drying in the sun. And then they bring them down into the cities and they sell them.
And what is a coffee? Is it a tree or is it a plant for the,
It's a bush.
okay, it's a bush, coffee bush.
Yeah, it's a bush.
Big, small,
Good size. Yeah.
6 feet?
Oh, yeah, higher than that. They can go. Yeah, they can go 10, 12 feet.
Do you have to sort of hold them up with anything, or they just
No, they just grow.
pretty much?
Yeah, they don't hold them up there. That
Yeah.
takes too much time and effort and material, which they don't have.
Okay.
You know, you don't waste that material.
Um,
They make a wonderful coffee. I tend to bring back maybe 10 or 12 pounds when I come back in the fall, in the winter, spring, and
From Honduras.
it gets me through the season. Yeah.
Well, I'll have to keep that in mind. I go to a coffee shop and they have all kind of different coffees. Matter of fact, I've had coffee from Honduras. They'll have a sign like Honduras. I mean, next day it's El Salvador or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
But they also do a lot of sugarcane harvesting. I went up there the last spring, and we went up into the mountains. It was one of the gentleman's father's place, and we actually harvested sugarcane and then got it there and ground it down and got all the juices from that. And you drink that what they call limon. It's a lemon, but it's a different lemon than we're accustomed to. It's more of a yellow version. It's just an excellent drink. It's pure sugar cane. I don't know what it does to your system, but
I wonder what it does to your teeth.
delicious. That, and we ate coconut.
Coconut.
Harvested right there, and enjoyed the coconut. And it's different because you
Well, how
walk.
about things like oranges?
Sure.
Apples, pineapples?
Oh, pineapples, watermelon.
Okay, so we're pretty
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
a big exporter then of produce
Yes.
from
Yeah.
Honduras.
Yeah, and
What is the population
sandias.
of Honduras? Do you know roughly?
Yes, I do. It's about 4.5 to 5 million people.
So it's not that many people.
No.
But it doesn't look like a small country, does it?
It's the size of Tennessee.
So it's fairly big,
Yeah.
but a small population.
Yes.
Massachusetts is a small state, but we got about 8 million people here. So pretty much agricultural.
Yes.
And
And timber.
a lot of timber.
A lot of timber.
Hardwoods?
A lot of hardwoods and
What kind of,
exotic woods.
Like what?
Black walnut and
it's
a teak and things of that nature.
Very
Yeah.
valuable.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And it gets much of it sent to Japan. Japan has cornered the market because they've bought so much land, and there were 2 large lumber cutting facilities within
Japanese?
owned by the Japanese, and it's strictly cut and trimmed and dried and then sent back to Japan. So.
Now the people there, mostly poor, speak Spanish. Wages are very low.
Very extremely low. Yeah.
Now, since you've been going there, Claire, you, Rick, have you seen any improvement
I've seen improvement in the infrastructure.
or better bridges, roads?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Rich talks about the roads, but next year will be my 10th trip, and I remember the first one. Even in cleaning up the countryside, there is no DPW. If you have trash, it just goes on the ground. And the government is doing more to try to have people pick up the trash. They're getting into recycling. Before, all the plastic bottles were on the side of the road. Now you'll see trucks picking them up. So they are trying, and the infrastructure is definitely better. But the poverty is just overwhelming, and there aren't a lot of jobs. So you could talk about immigration, and we're not going to talk about immigration, but you understand why the people want to get out of the country. There are just no jobs for them.
You know, you're telling me great place to grow things. They grow a lot of things. Lumber. Climate fairly good.
Climate's excellent. There's,
why then is there poverty there?
There
With
isn't.
all the, it seems like they have great,
well, education is a major issue.
no public schools.
Well,
They are.
The public schools are different. The public schools are public and they're free, with this exception. The students have to pay for their own books, and they're required to bring uniforms. They have to purchase a uniform, and they need socks and shoes. Well, those things are very expensive, and they just can't afford, many cannot afford the uniforms nor the shoes and socks and things that are required.
So why do you think the government doesn't, you know, provide these things? I mean, some people get the impression that some of these governments just really don't want the people to improve. They have a huge mass pool of cheap labor, ignorant labor, and they're content because the rich people, the rich families are doing extremely, extremely well.
Yeah, I don't know how realistic this is, but I don't go there as a tourist, and I feel that I don't go there as a mission person because I'm not with the team. I don't go to the old days and back except when I visit. But I'm pretty much on my own, and I'm with two local Hondurans, and they're just fun-loving guys, and they want to take me everywhere and show me things. And I look back, and not that I'm trying to regress any, but I look back at where the United States was 100 years ago, the West, and I can put Honduras in that category. You know, where you had the outhouse, where you had the large families, where you had dirt floors and the windowless homes, and you know, the lack of running water. Your water was a well if you were lucky enough to get it. Other than that, you collected rainwater. So they're gradually improving that status. Many of the villages, as Claire says, has a schoolhouse, but many of the villages have no schools. So those children have no way of getting to a school. So, you know, so that's another issue.
Do you find in new construction, maybe some of the new techniques you might find, maybe not in America, but indoor plumbing, low electricity, things in newer construction, or maybe some towns or cities?
The cities have electricity. Some of the towns do, but some of the towns we go to do not have electricity. It's just, they're too far out. So their day is sunrise to sunset.
We have installed bathrooms and then laid drain pipe down and put in some sort of they don't have leach fields out there, but you get some sort of a storage container and let the effluent rise there. We've done a lot of churches in towns, the town hall, that's where everybody meets, regardless of your religious denomination, that's where you meet. And we've gone and installed electrical lighting and fixtures and things in these churches. And I remember the electricity was coming up the roadway, and we took care of the entire service and had it waiting. The next season, electricity was there, still hadn't been tied in, so we got on the pole. One of the fellows that I'm with said, that's not an issue, and we tied the service in. And believe it or not, there are meterless uses of power. They have a meter socket, but there's no meter in there. You
They
just
need a
jump it
Diamond
out.
Vocational High School.
They
over
need
there.
someone there, don't they?
They need a vocational school, because when Richard talks about the two Honduran men, William and Antonio, they're two very smart. They pick up quickly. They want to learn. Richard has taught them all kinds of techniques now, so that when he's not there, if something breaks, they can fix it.
Now,
So it's education.
yeah, when you go to most countries and most societies, rich or poor, you find a carpenter shop. Someone's doing something in carpentry. Typical there?
Typical, yes.
maybe a blacksmith shop, you know, maybe not.
Metal work, sure.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
typical.
in other words, they have the rudimentary type trades, and you could find those in the village too.
Yes.
Oh,
I
yeah,
imagine.
mode of transportation in the villages is horses,
Yeah.
Or oxen.
oxen,
Yeah.
So horses need to be
shoed, yes.
shoed, and so they have those things.
A
What else
lot of
might
it is
they-
very, a lot of it is very crude. You might have a metalworking shop, but there's no welder. And one of the young men that I work with, some team bought him a welder, and he's taught himself, self-taught how to weld, and he does a really good job. And believe it or not, a lot of these metal shops will ask him to come over and do some welding for him or
Yeah.
for them. You know, so it's
And
a
usually
big,
that's how it stops, with that,
Yeah.
that small stuff.
yeah.
And the tradesmen are usually the people who really do all the, a lot of the advancement in the society.
A lot of bartering out there. So you know, the
Oh,
carpenter does a little
Yeah, well, it's
work.
good too,
and some-
sure.
You know,
Because money is short, I imagine,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
people don't have,
a middle or upper middle class individual, American dollars is maybe 275, maybe 300 American dollars a month.
okay, some people make that a day around here.
Yeah. The difference is though that product, if you're in a grocery store to buy things, the product is not much less than we would pay in our Walmart.
Yet they grow
So-
a lot of that there. So if you're going to buy a watermelon, you might be paying it's
Well,
much.
that's different. Sandias you buy for American money, 25 cents a piece.
Yeah.
But they're
Over here, it
everywhere.
might be $5.
Oh,
Yes. But what I'm talking about is you want to buy toothpaste, or you want to buy a can of soup, or a can of beans, or you know, anything like that. You want to buy a bottle of beer. I mean, a bottle of beer is only $1, but it's still $1. You know, and they don't have that kind of
Yeah,
free
that
cash.
seems to be on the expensive side, $1, for, you know,
For the amount of money they're making, yes.
Yeah.
It's very expensive.
yeah.
And fuel is over $5 a gallon for gasoline. So
What seems to, in other words, why the you know, why the high prices? Do they have like canneries there? Like what happens when if they bring in the we'll say the pineapples? I guess there's a crop, and maybe it's brought to a central, you know, like a collective.
It could be in the towns where we're going and where they're growing it, that's primarily to feed the people in the towns and in the cities. So how they go about exporting it to other countries, I have no idea. I don't know, Richard, if you have any insight into that.
no, I don't.
What we see is them coming down on a Friday afternoon with their carts laden with the vegetables they've grown. And then on Saturday morning, like in the city of Putucallpa, they shut down one of the streets and they have a huge farmer's market.
See, here in America, as you know, we have these gigantic farms, thousands and thousands and thousands of acres. Over there, a lot of small.
Well, most are small, as Claire stated, but there are a few large farms. Japanese owned, by the way, or
maybe-
Chinese
and
owned.
maybe all gets exported. It's not for the home market.
Much of it gets exported. However, the Hondurans entertain that because they're there working. What they'll do is they'll have if it's a Japanese-run organization, there might be one or two individuals doing the management, but they'll hire all the locals. And of course, they take very good care of them, and they pay them a decent salary according to the standards, Honduran standards, so they're very happy with that. And 2 and 3
You
crops.
have labor unions down here?
No,
Yeah, see,
no.
you know, labor unions, you might not like one, but they usually, at the grassroots level,
Yeah. Yeah.
they help the workers get a better wage.
There are no labor unions. There are no kind of building,
Are they
electrical
legal?
inspectors,
Are they
plumbing
legal?
inspectors.
In Honduras, are labor unions legal?
I don't know, and I wouldn't want to go there myself. You know, you were asking me how I get along in Honduras. I do very nicely. I don't get involved in politics. I try and stay away from those arenas. I
Yeah.
keep
Oh,
my
it's
nose
the best,
clean.
yeah.
Yeah, and I survive very well. I have a lot of friends, and I truly work hard, but I have such a good time there.
Remain non-political?
Yeah, Yes.
You're in a different country, sure, I can understand that.
Yeah.
I'm
And I
sure.
try not to enforce American ways. When I'm there, I'm a Honduran.
Yeah, best thing to do.
I act like a Honduran, and I dress like a Honduran, and
What
I
do they say, when
act.
in Rome, do as the Romans do?
Absolutely, that's very true.
Yeah. Yeah, that sometimes when you try to be too much of a, maybe a do-gooder, you get exposed, you expose yourself, and people don't take well to that.
Yeah, and there's a lot of panhandling because the economy is so bad.
So what do you do in that case?
Well, I'm not a believer of giving you a nickel, but I'll buy you dinners. I buy more dinners in Honduras for
common there?
people. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, oh boy.
Is that pretty much just with foreigners, or it's with the
No,
Hondurans?
Oh, no, the Hondurans. The
Back-
children are out every day, yeah.
And yeah, that,
Yeah.
yeah, that,
And what'll
that's not
happen?
good.
No, and they'll see you, and if you're an American, you're a gringo. Well, they'll just, and they're not. They don't approach you hazardly. They're back, and they might be just staring at you. They're back 10 feet, but they're just watching. And usually it's the females with an infant.
Oh, yeah.
So, come on in. You get the owner, have them give them dinner somewhere, and
One time I went to Morocco, and they just really are pests.
Yeah.
They're like swarms.
Yeah.
You can't get away from
Yeah.
them.
Well, they don't do that.
No, they don't do that.
swarm you.
It's not
No.
good.
No.
It's not good
No.
because it discourages tourists. It discourages foreigners. It discourages business people. So,
And they're just very appreciative of everything that we do down there.
And we're in a non-tourist area. Now, bear that in mind. I see we're watching time, but just to give you a handle on some of the things we've done, we've helped build water towers. We've designed microwave towers.
so why do you
installed.
do this? How did you get involved? Why don't you just stay home? Wouldn't it be safer? But not as gratifying?
It's not as gratifying.
Yeah.
Yes, this is a fun
Is
thing to
this
do.
an
It's
adventure?
a nice experience. Yep. And you're doing good. Gives you. I get more out of this than I'm sure they do,
Yeah.
because of. I just feel good when I get back, and we see the progress every year. There's more progress, more progress, more progress.
And when you show up, you see a little shininess in their eyes?
Oh, yeah.
Huh? No?
We get to, some of the villages we go to every year, so they get to know us and we get to recognize them. And with a lot, I mean, they have the same medical issues there that we have here. They have heart disease, they have diabetes, but they're less able to control how they care for themselves due to the lack of medication, being able to afford their medication. So that when we go in, we know that in one day, we're not going to take care of them for a year.
Yeah.
But we're going to provide episodic care. We can take care of that acute pneumonia or bronchitis or urinary tract infection. We can leave them a lot of medication. Asthma down there is absolutely rampant.
Okay, we're getting down to the end of the program, and I
Okay.
understand you pay for a lot of the materials and medications
We
yourself?
all pay our own way to go down, and then all of the fundraising we do buys the construction supplies, the medical supplies.
And our expenses while we're there, we supply our
Yes.
own.
All right, so you're really
expenses.
putting out a lot
Yes.
of your own. There's no doubt about that. We're getting down to the end of the program. One more thing, fast.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if you've got people that want to volunteer or give us materials, dentists, pharmacists that have
Okay, who do they
materials. we
call? You have a number?
Richard,
Clear.
give me a phone number.
Okay, my phone number is 508
508
558
558
3539. It's Richard
3539.
Mancini. Yes, we'll pick it up also.
Okay, so out there, people who want to make a donation, good cause, materials, whatever it is, even money, it'll go down to Honduras with this group, help out people. I really don't have much of anything, so it's a good cause. And thank you for coming on, Claire Sullivan.
Thank you for
Rick
having us.
Mancini.
Thank you for asking us.
You're welcome. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you.